Okay, great. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for attending our ongoing series of webinars for Inner Circle members to help all members implement the trade recommendations. And I'd like to give everyone some background on our trade selection process for the Inner Circle, so you can kind of understand the logic behind the trade recommendations. And we have this ongoing series of webinars to help members just in general understand why I make certain trade selections and the process I use to select these trades. And if you have a basic understanding of that, hopefully that'll build your confidence in the advisory service, and you'll be able to stick with the, you'll be able to maintain that discipline you need to, stick with the program through good times and bad. And so in today's webinar, we're going to focus on trend confirmation indicators I use to narrow down the list of stocks to select the stocks with the best profit potential. And we use this trade selection process both for stocks and our option trade selections. So in previous webinars, we covered the fundamental screening we use to select companies with good earnings growth potential, and we'll look at a company's growth in equity, growth in retained earnings, and revenue growth to try to find those companies with the best profit potentials based on their growth in equity and revenue and retained earnings. So that's the fundamental screening is all part of the big picture here when we're trying to select the stock with the best profit potential. And then we have a three-step trade selection process. Step one, we use trend following systems to determine the price trend. And we have to do that first before we can do step two, which is confirming the price trend, and step three, using the Keltner channels to determine an entry point. So in general, there's quite a few stocks today that are in a price uptrend, because a lot of stocks are in a very bullish mode right now with strong price uptrend. So the question becomes, how do you narrow down that large list of stocks that are in a price uptrend to the stocks with the best profit potential? And we use this three-step process to do that, and also the fundamental screening that we covered in previous webinars. So in general, with the basics of our trade selection, of course, is trend following. And with trend following, we use three different systems. We use the 50, 100-day EMA, the major trend, and the MACD. And we use these systems to determine the price trend. And you can see from previous webinars, if we look at a price graph, let's say for Apple stock, and we're looking at the 50 and 100-day EMA, we get an instant picture of whether we should be buying or selling that stock. So the trend following systems are the basis of our trade selection. And once we determine the price trend, if it's an uptrend, then we want to buy stocks and call options. And if it's a price downtrend, then we want to sell stocks and buy put options. So the trend following is the basis of our trade selection. And in general, we want to buy stocks if the buying pressure exceeds the selling pressure, and we want to sell stocks if the selling pressure exceeds the buying pressure. And the way we measure this buying and selling pressure is through the exponential moving averages. And just as kind of a background, I've been using these trend following techniques for more than actually it's been over 27 years now, and 27 years ago I started with a $4,600 trading account, and using these trend following techniques, my first 2 years I made over $460,000 in profits. So these trend following systems have a long history of success, and I think it's the best overall approach for investors to, when they're looking to trade a market, is to use a trend following system. And of course, if a stock is in a price uptrend, then we'll be purchasing stocks and ETFs, and we'll be purchasing call options, and we'll also be doing bullish option spreads. And we do all these strategies in the inner circle portfolios. And if a stock's in a price downtrend, then we want to purchase put options and bearish option spreads and purchase bearish ETFs. And we don't have many bearish positions right now. Of course, that'll vary with market conditions. Back in the last bear market, we loaded up with bearish positions in the summer of 2008, and we rode those bearish positions all the way down till March of 2009. So, this will vary. In other words, when we're in a bear market, we'll have mostly bearish trades. When we're in a bull market, we'll have mostly bullish trades. So, so the question becomes, how do we find the stocks with the best profit potentials when we have so many stocks that are in a price uptrend? And step 2 of our trade selection process, which is what we're going to focus on right now, is confirming the price trend. And we use on-balance volume to do that, the new 52-week high list, leading industry group, and price level, stocks that are trading above the $70 price level. So these confirmation indicators allow us to narrow down that big list of stocks, several hundred stocks that are in a price uptrend. And just that allows us to focus on the stocks with the best profit potential. And this is the process I use when I'm selecting stocks and options for the inner circle portfolios. So let's take a look at on-balance volume as a trend confirmation indicator. And the way the on-balance volume line is calculated is on a day when a stock closes up, the volume for that day is added. And when a stock closes down, the volume for that day is subtracted. And a cumulative total of these additions and subtractions form the OBV line. So when the OBV line is trending up, it indicates that the volume is confirming that price uptrend. And if the OBV line is trending down, then the volume is confirming a price downtrend. So we use it to confirm the price trend. Here's an example for Riverbed stock. We have the daily stock price activity on this top half of the chart. And then below here, we have the on-balance volume line. And you can see that the on-balance volume line is sloping up, and that confirms this price uptrend. So if a stock is in a price uptrend and we have an upsloping OBV line, then we have a confirmed uptrend. And here's a price chart of Apple stock, the daily price movement. You can see the 50-day EMA is above the 100-day EMA, so we have a price uptrend, and that price uptrend is confirmed with an upsloping OBV line. Here's another example for McDonald's, again, we have the daily price action, which is up, and the 50-day EMA above the 100-day EMA, and then this price uptrend is confirmed by an upsloping on-balance volume line. So when the on-balance volume line is sloping up, volume is heavier on days that a stock closes up, and volume is lighter on a day that a stock closes down. So that's a great indication that the buying pressure is exceeding the selling pressure. And then we know that if we have an upsloping OBV line, that the volume can help sustain that price uptrend. So the on-balance volume, it's a useful tool to confirm the trend for virtually any market. So you can use this for stocks, bonds, ETFs, just about any market. If you look at that on-balance volume line, it's a great tool to confirm the underlying price trend. And here's a daily price chart for the S&P 500 index, and here's the on-balance volume line. Now, this is really interesting because last summer, we had this large price decline in the S&P 500 index. Then it became really volatile. You can see these really volatile price moves, and then it actually made a new low around beginning of October. The S&P got all the way down to 1075, but there was a really strong divergence between this price action and the OBV line, and you can see during all this volatile price swings, and even during this new low at 1075 for the move, you can see the OBV line was steadily moving up. And I was watching this really closely last summer, and when I saw this, I maintained most of our bullish positions, because usually when you get a divergence in this OBV line versus the price action, it's a great buying opportunity. So I maintained most of our bullish positions last summer, and of course the S&P went on to make a new high just recently. So this is a great indicator to confirm a price trend, and it's especially useful if there's a divergence. And when you see a stock making a new low right here, but the OBV line is still trending up, you know that's going to be a great buying opportunity. And here's some more snapshots. This is TJX. We have this in the Inner Circle portfolios. You can see a price uptrend with the daily price action, 50-day EMA above 100-day EMA, and this price uptrend is confirmed by an upsloping on-balance volume line. Here's Home Depot. This is another stock or option we have in the Inner Circle portfolios. And again, you can see it bottomed out, started a price uptrend, and this was confirmed by the OBV line. So again, this is the reasoning behind my trade selections for Inner Circle. These are the kind of indicators I use on a daily basis to make trade recommendations. And here's one that's on our list of a possible buy, Alexion Pharmaceuticals. Again, a price uptrend confirmed with an upsloping OBV line. Here's one more. This is for Philip Morris. We have this in the Inner Circle portfolios. Again, uptrend with confirmed by upsloping on-balance volume line. Now, the on-balance volume is easy to download from the internet, and if you go to stockcharts.com, you simply type in the stock symbol, select a daily price action, and under indicators, you just select on balance volume, and that'll display a price chart, and above and then below you'll see the on balance volume line. So easy to download from the internet. And another confirming indicator I use, and I check this list almost every day, is through my trading experience over the years, I discovered that stocks that are making a new 52-week high, they tend to continue that price uptrend. And if a stock is making a new 52-week high, it confirms the price uptrend. And this allows us, of course, to further narrow down that list of stocks to buy. And stocks that are included in the new 52-week high list represent the very best profit opportunities available out of that universe of more than 6,000 common stocks that are currently trading. And I just checked this just before I came on air here, and there's about 115 stocks making new 52-week highs out of this 6,000 list of common stocks. So plain and simple, the stock will not make that new 52-week high list unless it's in a very powerful uptrend. And this new 52-week high list, that's also a great starting point for your trade selection. And so if you want to start out with your trade selection, a good place to start would be to just look at that new 52-week high list and check out the stocks on that list. And like I say, I do that almost every day, and it's a great starting point for your research. So let's just look at a couple of examples. These are, again, stocks that we have in the Inner Circle portfolios, or they're on the list of possible buys. Here's again TJX, and we see the price uptrend here with the daily price movement. We see the 50, 100-day EMA systems on a buy signal with the 50-day EMA, this blue line, above the 100-day EMA, the red line. We see it's confirmed by an upsloping on balance volume line, and you can see TJX is making a series of new 52-week highs. So this upsloping on balance volume line, and the fact that the stock's making a series of new 52-week highs are confirmations of this price uptrend, and this has been a great stock for us. Actually, we have an option position in this, and this has been a great option position for us. Here's Home Depot. Again, we have a price uptrend confirmed by the upsloping on balance volume line, and the stock making a series of new 52-week highs. Here's Alexion Pharmaceuticals currently on our buy list of potential stocks or options to purchase. Here's again is Philip Morris, and again making a series of new 52-week highs and an upsloping on balance volume line. And the 52-week high is easy to download. You just go to barchart.com, you click stocks, and then on the left column there, you just click 52-week highs, and that will display the stocks that are making a new 52-week high. And this is a great list to start your research. And as I said, I took the snapshot today. There's about 115 stocks today making a new 52-week high. So this is a great website. I have this bookmarked, and it only takes a few seconds to get right into the list of new 52-week highs, and a great starting point for finding stocks with the best profit potential. And another trend confirmation indicator I use is the actual price level of the stock. And I found through experience that that stocks that trade up to that 70 or 80 point range usually continue upward until they reach 100. And then if a stock reaches 100, it usually continues up till it reaches the 120 to 130 point range or even higher. So this is a very simple indicator. You just simply look at the price of the stock. Very few stocks ever make this higher price level. So it's a good general gauge. If a stock is trading, at a high price, it means that that the stock has been, the underlying company has been very successful for the stock to reach that price. So it's just a simple but effective way to further narrow down that list of stocks. And I found that very few stocks ever reach these higher prices. And if they do, they're doing something right, and it's a stock that you want to take a further look at. So another good confirmation is simply the price level that a stock is trading at. And of course, Apple now, at one point it was trading in that $70 to $80 range not too long ago, and it got up to 100, then 120, 130, and we started buying it when it was in around that 120 to $130 range. And of course, today it's trading at 540. Here's another stock we have in the inner circle, MasterCard, that's trading around 418. Here's Chipotle, another stock we have in inner circle, that's trading around the 390 price range. So a very simple indicator, but you'll find that the few stocks that ever make it this high usually continue their price uptrend. Here's Visa, a recent addition to inner circle, is trading around 117. So we put this all together, this trade selection process, and here's a current snapshot of the inner circle stock portfolio. We currently have $191,000 in open trade profits, average return of 87%. So again, I use the trade selection process and the trend confirmation indicators to select these stocks. And here's a snapshot of our option portfolio. We currently have $166,000 open trade profit, average return of 156% in the option portfolio. So the trade selection process is alive and working well. So that concludes my presentation for today, and I'd be glad to answer any questions that you may have on implementing the inner circle trade recommendations.
Chuck, we have 2 questions for this evening, and they're both in the chat section.
Okay, I'm looking at the chat section, and I don't see anything.
I just posted another one. Do you see it now, Chuck?
Okay, yeah. Okay. Yes, here's a question about the Morgan Stanley pick, and Morgan Stanley is currently in a price uptrend with the 50-day crossing above the 100-day EMA, but the major trend is not up yet. So usually with these kind of stocks that get severely oversold, you're going to get a buy signal first from the MACD or the 50 and 100-day EMA, and then usually later on, once that, if that price trend continues up, then you'll start getting a buy signal with the major trend. So we a lot of times will get into a stock that's been severely oversold and represents good value, and then we want to buy it earlier than when the major trend issues a buy signal. So a lot of times we'll use either the MACD or 50 and 100-day EMA to enter a stock before the major trend turns. Okay, could you provide your trade reasoning for entering a trade? Yesterday, Clean Energy was trading above the Keltner channel. Why was this a buy? Clean Energy, I think I explained in the trade alert yesterday for Clean Energy that's has strong fundamentals. It's growing its equity at a strong rate, and it's in a confirmed price uptrend. And I believe the Clean Energy was trading towards the middle channel, or between the middle channel and the upper channel. So it was an opportunity. It sold off just a little bit and dropped down towards that middle Keltner channel. So that was our opportunity to enter that trade at that point. So I think that's all I have for questions. I want to thank everybody for listening, and hope to see you at the next webinar in 2 weeks. Have a great day, everybody.